So, Merry Christmas, everyone. I have a book haul video today. These are not all the books that I got for Christmas. Some of these I got with gift cards, and anyways, this is kind of just everything that I've purchased and received in December. So yeah, let's go through everything. Alright, so first I'm going to go over the books that I got for Christmas from my two book besties. First is A Familiar Stranger by A.R. Tor, I believe was her name. This is the same author that wrote the Girl in 6E series, I believe. And this one, the cover is really cool, by the way. It's almost like, makes it look 3D. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but anyways, from what I understand, this book is about this girl who kind of gets swept up in when she meets someone and kind of creates this fake life for herself, and then at some point her lies kind of crash, and I don't know if she has to reconcile which one, I don't know. But anyways, it sounds really interesting. It's a mystery thriller, so as I'm sure I'll say about all these, I'm very excited for this one. Next is A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. This is a pretty short one, a lot shorter than I thought. But this is about a guy. He lived his life as a Mormon, and then he ends up dying, but instead finds himself cast out of heaven and arrives in hell, and he's trying to reconcile being in hell after living his life devoted to a god who didn't end up being the god that he saw in the end. So I got some very mixed reviews. It sounds very interesting, so looking forward to see what kind of conversational pieces come out of this read. And next is Secluded Cabin Sleep 6 by Lisa Under. I don't know if I've read another Lisa Under, but every time her books came out, they always looked so interesting. But I had to ask for this one because this is a locked room thriller, which is one of my favorite things. And I believe this is, yeah, 3 couples rent a cabin, and you know how thrillers go, some shit goes down, someone dies, and now they're all trapped there. So looking forward to that one as well. And then we got Swift to Chase, which is by Laird Barron, what I think is the editor. These are, I think there's short stories. I don't know if there's 3 or 10 short stories in here, but they're kind of all about mysterious stuff that have taken place in the Alaskan wilderness. I will be heading to Alaska next year, so I wanted to make sure I had this for that little adventure. Looking forward to that. And lastly from this stack is Black Chalk by Christopher Yates. This is a dark academia book about a group of students that decide to kind of play a game, and it starts out as like easy prank stuff and kind of escalates from there. So I've heard really, really good things about this book, so I always love me a good dark academia book. So and the next one is one that I actually got for Christmas from my mom. This is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wow Biggers Rice. I'm sure I mispronounced that, and I'm so sorry. I will figure out the pronouncing when I read it. But this is a kind of wilderness. I don't know if a storm comes, but they obviously live way out where it gets really snowy, and they kind of get cut off from the rest of the society, and it's kind of just about survival when you're stranded. So, you know, I do like the stranded books, and again, this is another short one, so yeah, I've again heard a lot of really good things about this book, so excited for that one. Next, I got a gift card to Barnes & Noble, so I went and spent that gift card plus some. So first I got Cold Enough for Snow, which is by Jessica Au. I think this is set in Australia. I don't know if it's translated. I don't know if it's a translated word or just set there or whatever, but again, another short little novella, and I think the whole book is about a mother and daughter who are together, and they're just like having a day out and about with each other, you know, visiting shops and talking about life stuff. But kind of the big question is, whose point of view is this from? And there's a little mystery about that. So it was very intriguing to me. So yeah, and the lady at Barnes & Noble highly recommended it. So always love when I get book recommendations from booksellers. It's my favorite. Then I have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garms. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I do like this one. The edges are colored, and it has the like periodic table of elements in it, which is very cool. I was thinking this was more sciencey, but I think it's actually set in the 60s, and this girl ends up being on a cooking show, and her approach to cooking the recipe on the show is like very meticulous, and instead of calling it like salt, she calls it like the chemical name, and so it causes a stir, and it's kind of, I think, just about conversation about women empowerment and all of that, especially during that time frame. I wasn't going to pick this up, but I've heard really good things about it, and I took a lot of chemistry in school. I really enjoyed it, so of course my nerd heart fell in love with that part of it, so we'll see. Alright, next we have Moonless Nocturne by Hank Schwabel. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But these are, or this is a collection of stories of dark fantasy and horror noir. So I'm sure that'll be very interesting. Oh, look, there's a picture. Oh, we do like pictures in our books. Cool. Alright. Next is Extinction by Bradley Summer, which I freaking love this book. Well, the cover anyways. I haven't actually read it. Huh? But anyways, when I first picked this up, I thought it was a nonfiction. And then, because it was on like just a table at Barnes & Noble, and then when I was looking through the shelves, it was actually slotted in the fiction. But it's kind of about this ranger whose job is to monitor and kind of protect the last grizzly bear on Earth, and there ends up, I guess something happens, and so he has to kind of decide if his life is worth more than the protection of this bear. So I'm sure there's going to be lots of conversations of extinction of animals and environmental and all that, but it got really good reviews. Looking forward to reading it. Next is Big Machine by Victor LaBelle. I recently read a book by Victor LaBelle this year, though it was not a favorite. I really enjoyed his writing, and so I've been trying to pick up his backlist of books, which there's quite a few of them. But this one, I believe, is about a guy who used to be in like a religious cult, and he got out of it, and he's kind of living life like in the slums, and he ends up getting recruited into this thing with a bunch of these other kind of past criminals, and I kind of thought it was a techno thriller kind of thing, so we'll see. But yeah, I've read a lot of reviews, and they said a lot of people who have read Victor LaBelle's catalog of books said this is their favorite one. So, looking forward to it. Alright, next stack of books are books that I got from a bookstore in the UK called Waterstones. They have a lot of really good like limited edition books, and typically what I've been doing is if there's a book that I want to buy, I actually go and look and see if the UK cover is a better cover than the US cover, because sometimes it is. Like this one, Animal by Lisa Trudeau. This has been on my watch list for quite a while, and I was on TikTok the other day and somebody said it was one of their favorite books. So I just thought it was time to pick it up now. And I really especially like this cover. Maybe I'll see if I can put the US cover next to it for comparison's sake, but yeah, I think this is about a woman who like moves away from home, and then something happens and she doesn't really remember her past, so she asks someone to help her unravel the mysteries of her past. I know it's marketed as a mystery thriller, but I think some people said it's more literary fiction than it is thriller. But I guess there's a couple of plot twists. The person on TikTok said it blew their mind, so yeah. And the next one is The Delroy by Missouri Williams. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know much about this book. This showed up in quite a few people's TikTok of books that made them like, what the fuck am I reading? Which you don't need to say anymore, because I will buy it if it's on that kind of a list. So, but I heard there's some cannibalism, some other questionable stuff that goes on in this book. I'm very intrigued. I bought myself a copy, and I bought a friend a copy, and I'm gonna make her read it with me because I'm scared, so. Next is On Chesil Beach by Ian McEwen. This is about a couple that are on their honeymoon, I think, and they travel to this little island for a stay, and something happens, and it ends up being like a night they'll never forget because of something that happened. But again, kind of a shorter book. Yeah, I'm intrigued. So again, saw this on TikTok, a girl that I follow. I've read some of her other recommendations and they've been very good, so looking forward to this one. Next is Pew by Catherine Lacey. This is about a small town, and I think everything kind of surrounds this church, and they end up finding this stranger sleeping in the church. She's not talking, doesn't want to communicate with anybody, nobody knows who the hell she is, but she's there, and I think some shit goes down in the little town, and I think there's some creature-y stuff, but again, very intrigued. And next is Acts of Service by Lillian Fishman. I really only wanted this cover because this looks like a giant eyeball, and I love that. But I think this is a literary fiction about this woman who puts herself up in an ad and ends up getting entangled with this couple as like a threesome, but then some obsession stuff starts happening, and I think there's some conversations about, I don't know, sex stuff, I'm assuming. But I heard it's got some plot twists that nobody quite expects, so I'm intrigued enough for that one. Again, shorter book. Okay, so that's it for the UK ones. The last one is one that I just picked up. I'm trying to build my Stephen King library. And I will be reading quite a few of Stephen King books in June for a project that I have going on, so stay tuned for that. But this is the special edition of Stephen King's Lizzie's Story, which is in this beautiful slipcase. It's got quite a design on it. Let me see if I can take it out of the slipcase. And true to Stephen King fashion, it is massive. But yeah, it looks like a beautiful edition. To tell you the truth, I'm not at all aware of what this is about, but it is part of what I am reading for a project in January, so I am reading it no matter what. Alright, and let's put that back in its fancy cover. And I did get this actually off of eBay. This is the, I don't know if it's the Cemetery Dance special edition, but it said it was the Scribner special edition, so I did not care for the other cover of Lizzie's Story, and I wanted this one, so yeah, so that is all of my books for this haul. Thanks for being with me on Christmas, and wish you all a happy holiday. Thanks. Bye.